So let me start by asking a question. Do you remember a talk that has happened few years ago that you still remember and you vividly recall even today? Maybe by your teacher, a leader that you work with, or even a TEDx. Now I want you to think about those speeches which has stuck to your mind. Now, how many talks, how many meetings that we all attend in a month, and why don't we remember those talks in the same way we remember those talks which are still stuck to our mind for years together? It is not because the other talks were all bad. It is because most talks don't get stored in our brain the way it will last for a longer time. And here's the truth: great talks aren't just the motivational fluff that is going to happen. So they're motivating you, they're inspiring you. They are not just those elegant slides or that fancy delivery with, polished English words. Great talks are nothing but neurobiological events. Great talks are neurobiological events. And every time you speak, you're quite literally sparking chemicals, firing neurons in the brain, and rewiring circuits in the brains of your audience. Think about how powerful that is. Your words, your presence, your stories, it can actually leave trace in someone else's brain for years together. Don't we all want to become that kind of speaker who gets stuck to people, who will transform people to think in a different way, change their perspective, build actions every day, be in their decision making every single day of their life? And that's not magic, that's neuroscience. Now, here's a challenge. Most speakers don't know how to use this. They prepare their slides, they write their script, they polish and practice their delivery a lot of times, they even memorize their points. But they forget the most important point when it comes to speaking: how the brain of your listener actually works. And you know what? As a speaker, you ignore the brain of your audience. It's like your talk is like the water slipping through the fingers. It is heard, but it is forgotten. But then, as a speaker, when you understand the brain, what happens is that the moment you understand brain, you stop delivering information and you start creating transformation. Don't we all need to become that kind of speaker, that we just don't want to speak, but we want to transform? We want to stay in the minds of people even after we've finished talking. So today, I'm going to share with all of you a hack to hack the brain for impact. So we'll explore three major systems. You must have heard about dopamine, oxytocin, mirror neurons, right? So I'll give you certain practical and science-based tools to use to hack each one of them right from your next talk. Are we good to go? Because the goal is very simple. When you speak, you're not just giving talk, you're literally changing brains of your audience. And that is what is going to be our goal from the very next speech that we are talking. So let's move on and start with the first system that we're going to talk about: dopamine. So, dopamine, we all would have heard, right? The pleasure chemical that gets created when you're happy, you've done a small check next to your to-do list. So that is dopamine to all of us. But what really is dopamine is the curiosity and the reward chemical. Dopamine is a curiosity and the reward chemical. It's what spikes your brain when you hear a mystery, when you anticipate a reward, or even when you solve a puzzle. So, this is how your dopamine actually works. And for us as a speaker, dopamine of your audience is pure gold, because when you spark it, you get people's attention. And we all know attention is one big thing that we all have to be really working with every second of our speech, don't we? So think of your audience like Netflix viewers. Even for you, right? If the first 30 seconds don't spark curiosity for you, you mentally turn to the next channel. It's similar for the audience to hear a speaker as well. They shut down. Although they'll be sitting in front of you, they shut down. They don't want to listen to you. Dopamine is what keeps them hooked. It's what happens next feeling, right? That is how Netflix or even the series that we are all hooked on to, what happens next, what really happens. So without it, people drift away. With it, they lean forward, their eyes are wide for hunger to learn more of what you're sharing. Now, quickly, the science behind dopamine. Neuroscience says that dopamine is triggered by three things. One is a novelty, something surprising or unexpected. That's novelty. The second thing is the suspense, the gap between what they know and what they want to know. And the third one is reward. Small wins or aha moments that you give to the speakers along the way are the rewards that they get, right? So that's why the best TED Talks don't just jump into the information or give the information away. They tease you, they surprise you, and then they keep delivering mini rewards along the way. And that's dopamine in action. So, now what are certain tools that we can use in order to trigger dopamine in your audience as a speaker? The first one is to ask curiosity gap questions, like the way I started today. I asked a question. You can even ask, what's the number one predictor of team success? It is not IQ, but, and then you look around. That will spark curiosity in the minds of your audience. The second one is to build suspense with stories. What happens next will shock you. I'm about to tell you a story that has changed my life 360 degrees. You see, you're building suspense with the stories. And the third one was the rewards, right? So offer small wins. Here's one line tool that you can start using right away. Do you get that? When people listen to you, they are like, oh, I'm winning a great tool that I can start using right away. So, what are the three things? Novelty, the surprising moments that you can be creating, or the unexpected moments. The second one is suspense. Build suspense with your stories. And the third one is to offer wins, the rewarding mechanism. You tell them that next I'm going to give you this. So it's just like reward for them. So it's not about the fancy words that you speak. It's all about structuring your message so that brain gets tuned and you keep giving the brain what they want. And that's dopamine in action. So I want to quickly show a demonstration for how do you hack dopamine or create dopamine in your audience. So let's take an example, or if you are a speaker who speaks about resilience, the flat way of delivering would be, resilience is all about bouncing back when you're in your setbacks. I faced a challenge, but I overcame it. So this is very flat way of delivering. Now let's look at how do you apply the tools and hack the dopamine of people. You go like this. 2 years ago, I had a project which collapsed. Everything I had worked on is gone now. And I still remember sitting in my car afterwards, hands on the wheel, thinking, is it that's it? Looks like I can't come back from this setback. But then something happened. Something small but powerful that completely shifted me. I'll tell you that that was a moment my mentor had called me, and he just said something which changed my life. Just 6 words. Kavina, moments don't define you, but you do. And that instantly rewired my brain. I went from hopeless to resilient. And that's the power of a tiny spark of words that can bring you a lot of resilience. Did you see the difference from a monotonous delivery to how you can actually spark suspense, curiosity, and then the suspense that I was building with my mentor called, and then 6 words it changed my life? So that's how you build curiosity and suspense and give them rewards so that it constantly creates dopamine in people so that they keep on their attention with you. So please remember this. If you want to have attention of your audience, spark curiosity. Dopamine is the brain's way of telling, leaning in forward and telling, oh, Kavina, please don't stop. Keep speaking. And don't we all want to become that kind of speakers whom people want to move forward and listen? Now, dopamine grabs attention. So now, dopamine grabs attention. But attention alone isn't enough. If you want audience to trust you, to open up to you, you need something deeper, isn't it? Attention alone is not enough. You need something else so that people will trust you. And most importantly, they have to open their mind to you because in a day, they go through a lot of information. And that's the level of digital information that we keep getting. So now we are moving to the next one, which is going to be even more deeper, which is called oxytocin. How many of us know about oxytocin? Quite often in a common language, we call it love language, love hormone, and I would prefer to call it the trust hormone. It's what our brains release when we feel safe, when we feel connected, when we feel cared for. And this is why we feel bonded with someone who gives a very simple but a genuine smile. Or when somebody, talks to us and shares a vulnerable story. And in speaking, I would call this oxytocin to be a permission slip. Why permission slip? Because you're basically taking permission from your audience to talk to them more deeply and to connect with them. Because before audience will let you shape their thinking, they need to trust you, isn't it? So you need that permission slip or to go inside much more deeper. So why does this matter right now? Now we've learned about the neuroscience of it. Have you ever sat in a talk where the speaker was too good, polished, smart, impressive, but then you were not able to connect with them? What really happened? It was the lack of oxytocin. You're not able to trust them with the message that they were trying to give. And without the trust, the content just you might absorb the content, but it gets forgotten. So in neuroscience, they say oxytocin is triggered by three major elements. The first one is empathy, because oxytocin is about the trust hormone, right? So when you show your audience what you are authentically, then you can build better bond. The second one is vulnerability. When you share your struggles and not just success, you will be accepted more by your audience. And the warmth. How do you share warmth from the stage as a speaker to 2,000 people, 3,000 people in front of you, through your tone, through your eye contact, where you can look at people, not just that blurry eye that we put on in order to scan through the room, but to genuinely, bring that eye contact with at least few in the audience. And the rest of them will understand that you're giving a genuine eye contact and the genuine presence of being there. Being there not to show what kind of a great speaker I am, but to genuinely be there to tell them your message, to transform their lives. And that is genuine presence. And people will be able to understand if you're genuinely present or not. So I told oxytocin is more like that permission slip, right? So it literally lowers down the defense in the amygdala. Can I trust? Can I not trust the speaker? Is something which will constantly run in all of their brains. And if you can lower that defense, you can definitely make people trust you more, bond with them, and you'll be able to go deeper in the context. So, empathy, vulnerability, and the warmth. So, now, how do you uh, hack the oxytocin? What are the certain tools? So, if you would want uh, to know how to release, there are again through vulnerability to through warmth that you can do. The first thing is to share a personal story with a struggle. That's when you share your vulnerability, right? Not just the victory. Because if somebody knows that you are very successful, they're like, okay, he's blessed, he's smart, he's not like me. But when you start with the struggle, not just the victory, people will be able to accept you, bond with you better. Start using inclusive language. Start saying more of we together instead of I. And that's when people will feel that bonding with you. Offer empathy, acknowledge their challenges. They are as equal people as us. If I have gone through difficult times, they would have gone through the same times. And keep maintaining your presence. Look at people long enough to make them feel seen. Every time you ask a question, look at one person's eyes and say this, nod, and people will know that you're genuinely being present there. So now going back to the demonstration, if you're at a resilient speaker, you go about talking about in a flat tone, resilience is this and resilience is that. Now I want you to look at how do you use the same script and bring more of oxytocin. So it's the same same script that I have. Let's now see the same script. How can I shift to use oxytocin, right? So here I go. 2 years ago, I was working in one of the project that collapsed. It was one of the most difficult times in my life. I sat in my car, hands on the steering wheel, whispering, maybe I can't bounce back this time. Have you ever felt that? That moment when the weight feels too heavy to come back? Right in that moment, when I was feeling too heavy, my mentor's voice cut through my fear. Kavina, moments like this doesn't define you. You define you. And that is when I realized resilience isn't about never falling. It is about remembering that I'm not alone in doing this. And today, I want you to know whatever you're facing right now, you're not alone either. Do you feel the shift from telling or talking in monotonous language of resilience is this, that, to telling the story with a very vulnerable start? I started with the struggle, isn't it? So that's vulnerability. And I asked a question, and I said a very emotionally heavy thing. I felt too heavy. And then I asked a question. Have you ever felt that? So what am I doing here? I'm offering or I'm acknowledging their challenges. So I'm offering empathy here. And I used inclusive language. See, this story is about me, right? None of you were there. But I kept telling, have you ever been there? So what am I doing? I'm using inclusive language. Although it is my story, I'm bringing you inside my story. So that's going to release oxytocin and maintaining presence, right? When you talk, have you ever felt that? You look at somebody's eyes and you, have you ever felt that? And that's going to show a genuine presence. So now we have now seen what is oxytocin, what is the neuroscience behind it, what are the tools that we can do, and we also looked at a demonstration. So before we move forward, I would like you to remember this: context makes content is what will put sense into your entire speech, and the connection is the one that makes an impact. And oxytocin is your permission slip, is how you earn the right to transform your audience. You're basically asking them to be a part of you. All right. So now, once you've captured attention with dopamine, and then you opened their hearts with oxytocin, that we are now going to move to the third one, which is the mirror neurons, the brain's empathy circuit, where your presence becomes an experience for them. So now, moving on to mirror neurons, it's that empathy circuit, as I said, in the brain. Mirror neurons fire when we watch someone else act, or even you are acting yourself. When you are hearing somebody, when you are seeing or when you're watching somebody else act, you're basically going to imagine yourself into a part of their experience. It's a very, I would say, very unconscious thing that you do with your brain. Have you ever watched a horror movie? We all know it's a movie, right? The ghost is on the other side. We are watching through the screen. But what really happens? If somebody even touches, we go like this. Why? Because our brain, when we watch something, somebody act, we can't resist. We start imagining ourselves to be a part of that experience. So, how do we use this as a speaker? If you laugh genuinely on the stage, people will laugh as well. If you're going to show pain, people are going to feel pain in their own body. And we all know how it works, right? If I yawn, I know you're all sitting uh, kilometers away, but you will yawn as well. And that's how contagious, how our mirror neurons work. Laughter spread, stories moves everyone. And as speakers, this could be a secret superpower that we all can have. Our audience will not just listen to us, they will start mirroring us if we can hack the mirror neurons properly. So, why it matters in speaking? Now, think about this. Your audience can only feel what you embody, right or wrong. What you carry or what you embody is what your audience is going to feel. If I want them to feel courageous, what should you do as a speaker? You must show courage. If you want your audience to feel hope, you must embody hope on the stage. If you want them to feel resilient, you just can't say resilience through words. You need to live resilience in front of them. So that's how your mirror neurons work. So, mirror neurons basically are the specialized cells in the brain. They sit in the premotor cortex. So, what happens is that they light up when you act or when you see someone else act. So that's what is the secret behind the visualization, right? A lot of athletes keep visualizing their success. So when they visualize, what happens is that their brain neuron starts firing up as if they're actually playing, and that's why their presence on the stage, on the ground, matters, or it becomes so powerful and so perfect that the words that you can actually be using. So now that we know how our mirror neurons work, now how do we use it in the tools as a speaker? So how do you activate mirror neurons? embody emotion. Show them fear, show them courage, show them hope, show them resilience. Physicality. Use a lot of gestures, posture, facial expressions. I'm so sad. I was very happy when I found out that I got a surprise. So it's all about your physicality. Use your body language, pacing, and silence. Sometimes you need to let your body talk and tell the story. Body should tell the story as much as your words. So there's also the saying that only 7% of your communication is made through words. The rest 93% is made through body language. So 93% of your communication is body language. And so hack it when you're a speaker on the stage. Your words can only tell a part of the story, but your body language can tell the whole essence of the story. So the next one is model the state you want. First, you should model the state that you want the audience to come through. Do you want them to be calm? Do you want them to be excited? You need to first figure out what is the state of mind that you want your audience to be reaching at several parts, because it's going to be several parts. When you're going to tell a story, you're going to start with a struggle and then you eventually move up, and then there is a peak where you're going to take them. So you need to basically take them through this whole curve, and you need to identify in your script during your speech what is the state of mind your audience has to be fitting in. And your body is the actual slide deck, if you see, not those fancy and elegant slides that you'll be actually using. Now, let's see how do we demonstrate the mirror neurons. So, again, back to the resilience story, that you could actually be going about and telling what is resilience, how does it work, and or rather, you can use the same story to be firing up the mirror neurons. Now, how do we do it? You can say, I still remember that exact moment when my project just collapsed. And I felt collapsed as well as I was sitting against the steering wheel in my car. My heart was really tight and I could hear whispers. Kavina, you can't do it. It's a huge setback. And then something really shifted. My mentor's voice. He said, Kavina, this moment doesn't define you. You do define yourself. And that moment, my body felt a rise and my mind did as well. And I exactly knew that was resilience. Not bouncing back, but looking forward. Do you see a difference between the first version, which goes on to tell resilience is this, resilience is there, and then the second version where you made them feel, you felt it first, and then you made them feel. That's mirror neurons in action. You're basically embodying emotion, you're showing it through the physical gestures, you're pacing, you're silencing, and you also know which state you are in and which state you want your audience to be taken to. So remember this, your audience doesn't just hear you, they start mirroring you. If you make them feel a part of your experience, they start mirroring you. If you want them to feel it, you need to show it and not speak it. So, how do you show? You enact, you embody, you use your body language, your tone, your gestures, your physical expression, your chest weighing very heavy. Show it, enact it. And that's when I say speakers are not just speakers, they are performers. Because you need to perform live in front of your audience so that they embody what you're trying to say. So now we have seen all the three: dopamine, oxytocin, and mirror neurons. So, what did we do dopamine for? Dopamine to grab attention, oxytocin to spark trust, mirror neurons to get into a shared experience. And if we are going to work with dopamine, oxytocin, and mirror neurons, you are bringing the whole thing together as a speaker. And that is when you become that speaker that people, even after years, they will still remember what you spoke. They'll still remember and take decisions based on what you have spoken to them. And that's the transformation that we want to bring in people's life, right? As leaders, as speakers. So let's put all of this together. We have seen three powerful forces in the brains today that can actually shape how the audience accept you, experience you as speakers. So the first one is dopamine, which is a curiosity chemical. So what do? You spark dopamine in people and then you lock the attention. We saw a lot of different things, asking curiosity questions, rewarding them with small tools by saying, hey, the next 10 minutes, I'm going to give you a tool that you can start using right from the beginning. Creating suspense. You're this, I can take you here. Basically, you show them what they know and you take them to a level above. So that's suspense. Oh, what am I going to hear? All this while, I thought the number one quality of a leader is this. Oh, there's something else. So that's creating suspense. So that's triggering their dopamine so that they are like very curious to know what you're speaking. Give them aha moments. So those are those rewards that they are getting. So work with their suspense, their curiosity, and their reward. And that way you spark their attention and then you lock their attention. And if you're not able to do that in first 30 seconds, we will lose our audience forever. The second thing is the oxytocin that we saw, right? It's the love hormone or the trust hormone. So what do? We trigger the trust hormone and we open their hearts. And that's like that permission slip to get into their hearts and stay in there forever. What are we doing? We are basically bringing their defense mechanism in their amygdala down because all of your defense mechanism is always up because we all consume a lot of information and we do not know whether it is right or wrong. Every minute, every second around in Instagrams and YouTubes, there's million influencers saying things which we don't know whether to consume that or not. Somebody says put cashew in your milk and drink every night and you will be able to cure cancer. Does that really work? Nobody knows. So what happens is that by default our defense, everybody's defense mechanism is up. So first you need to lower their defense mechanism down as a speaker so that you'll be able to directly get into their hearts. So now how do we do it, oxytocin? By being vulnerable as a speaker, sharing your struggles. That is number one. Showing empathy to them. Everybody face challenges. Talk to them, ask them questions, tell them that I feel your pain. I know you as managers what you must be going through with your, let's say, Gen Z members. Create a lot of empathy with them. And that way, they'll be able to start opening up to you. And the third thing is mirror neurons. What is that? That's the empathy circuit in your brain. And they light up when you act or when you see somebody act. So start you first embodying the emotions, the emotional state that you want your people to be in, and then feel it and then enact it. So that when you feel uh, an emotion, there's a part of your brain which starts lighting up. When the other person becomes a part of your experience, they will have the same areas in their brain lighting up based on what you are speaking. So that way you are mirroring with your audience. So when you use all of these together, what happens is that your talk stops from being just a lecture and it becomes an experience that you are creating with your people. Now, with all of that, I just want to give you a very simple brain tool to integrate whatever we have spoken till now. I'd like to simply call it the SPEAK model, SPEAK, SPEAK model. So, S stands for spark curiosity. Spark curiosity is nothing but your dopamine. P stands for presence, your mirror neurons. How do you activate your mirror neurons? And E stands for empathy, to bring oxytocin. That's SPE. And then AK, A stands for action, embedding the idea in the moment. Start embedding your ideas, your message in the moment. And K for keep anchoring. You need to keep anchoring your message. If you can write down your message in less than 10 seconds, sorry, 10 words, it becomes like a signature phrase that you keep repeating. What was a phrase that I kept repeating in our session today? Moments don't define you, you define yourself. So, with this, what happens is that you are basically repeating a signature phrase. Some people call it the foundational phrase. So, if you keep telling that over and over again, basically, what are you doing? You're anchoring in the message of your audience. So, when you speak, you're not just sharing words, you're shaping chemistry in the minds of people. So I want you to next time you sit down, you write your script. I don't want you to simply sit down and write script as words and practice and refine your delivery and go and deliver the speech. I want you to become an alchemist and start practicing even while you're writing script. Where do you inject the curiosity for dopamine? Where are you showing empathy? How are you showing empathy to the other person? How are you being vulnerable so that the oxytocin is triggered? And how and when are you mirroring? You want to have the mirror neurons fired up in their brains, from your brain and their brain. You need to identify those areas and start working on it. Keep anchoring with a signature phrase so that people carry that phrase back. How many of us still, before we take a decision, we have that one sentence which comes up. Before I want to almost give up, I remember practice makes a man perfect. So I don't give up. I'm going to go back to my practice. These are the ways you, as a speaker, will give them those signature phrases where they will carry it for their lives for every single decision that you want them to be taking better on. So I want you to think of speak the next time you write your speech, because when you are a speaker, when you are a leader, we are not just speaking to people, we are changing brains. Every word, every pause, every gesture that you're making sparks chemistry in the minds of the listener. Let's please understand that, be it dopamine or oxytocin or mirror neurons, because shaping how people think, how people feel, and act even after we have left the room is what gives us credit as a speaker or a leader. So please plan your speech in a way, not just plan your slides or memorize your script. Please plan chemistry in your speech. Because when you hack the brain, you don't just inform, but you transform. And that is the neuroscience of speaking. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Kavina. It was really wonderful.
Thank you,
Anyone
Shabana.
would like to add something?
Very well spoken. And
Thank you, Raj.
I believe that all speeches must have good good intonation, good delivery like mine, and all all uh, all speakers must use the uh, happy hormones uh,
Yes.
more than serotonin and dopamine, because when you are speaking sad story, it um it applies to your you take on what you wrote, right, you see. So you have the power to be speaking well, or you have the power to, you do, if you don't want to speak well, it's your choice. But I said that when we present, whether as a motivational speaker, or whether as a laughter yoga teacher, or whether as an expert, or whether as a CEO, I hope to become a CEO one day of my laughter yoga business. But when we speak professionally and with the intent to heal people. And those people often ask me, I often get the vibrations that some people don't get inspired by me, even by even with my own sister. She doesn't get inspired by my laughter yoga as much as my parents and my brother does. But there's nothing much I can do. So when we come across to and this uh with those kind of people, we should understand and say that what lesson did they teach us? What lesson did they teach us? And we must not forget what supported us, what and who supported us in the journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajvan, for sharing.
I think Premji and Himshika wanted to speak. Premji?
Hi, good evening. Sorry. I was recalling at one time I was invited to share uh, a very personal journey on the fact that I was a heart patient and I had taken a very bold step after the COVID. And quite successfully, in 8 months, I defied the odds. And the doctors halved my medicines, which was very unique. Usually at my age, people increase the medication, not decrease. So a lot of folks want to know what did I do? What was the miracle cure? What was the magic bullet? There was nothing magical about it. It was just a transforming journey. And I wanted them to be real. I wanted the whole thing to be real. So what you shared with us just now connected me with the audience. They could actually really empathize what I went through, and they saw hope for their parents because the audience were of a younger, a younger generation, the Z generation, all kinds of generations there. So that was what you said just now. Made me recall that the audience do empathize with us when we are the underdogs in the face of so much in front of us, and then we somehow or other defy the odds and make it happen. And I'm still enjoying the journey of recovery, still maintaining quite well, uh, and very very happy that life is not only a pursuit of wealth, it's also a great pursuit of health. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, Himshika, you want to share?
Hi, Himshika.
Thank you so much. Yeah, hi. Actually, I think it's the first time I have attended your session.
Yes.
So it's been
Himshika, we are losing you, your audio.
uh, yeah, there's some network issue. Not, that's- yeah,
Yes.
there's some network. And,
You are still not audible. Sorry, I'm completely losing your audio.
yeah, I
Yes.
actually some network. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for joining. Maybe the next time I would hear you better and know your thoughts. Thank you, Himshika, for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Minaji, you want to share? I think no. So thank you, Kavina. I think it was a wonderful session. So many things to learn. I think. So, but it was really great to know get the overview, and otherwise we just go and speak without knowing these things. So thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Shabana.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you all.